And we are live.
All right.
Hello, you. No, that's you. This one's me. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Psycho Bunny Death Cult.
Hello.
I hope I don't sound like too big of a jackass. My voice is shot. Psycho Bunnies and Headed Room inmates. I apologize. I'm sick as a fucking dog. I'm trying my best not to get these two sick. Except now we're all
Huddled in.
up close and personal. You know what I mean, Monica?
We just had alcohol, so it will kill everything.
I hope so, because it was bad. I forgot how much I don't like Jack Daniels.
I had the tequila.
Did you? That's what I should have done. I have grown to love Jameson, though, which is also whiskey.
Yeah.
And
Jameson and lemonade are pretty good.
that sounds rancid. That sounds disgusting.
Oh no, that's
Jameson and what?
Lemonade.
That doesn't sound right.
Jameson and lemonade. Has anybody else tried that? It
It's pretty good.
doesn't sound good.
No.
It sounds terrible. I think Jameson and iced tea might be a better idea.
No, the lemonade kind of gives it a kick.
It's Jameson. Does it need any more of a kick?
It
Oh, it does. It's pretty unruly. I completely forgot my notebook. We are, as usual, completely unprepared.
Oh, Mike is slowing down.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Oh, mic's on.
Mike's on.
Anybody watch? Has anybody seen Leatherface? How do I sound? Can you guys? Hi guys. Sorry I'm late. That's okay, Odd Mother.
We're late too.
We're late too because I'm sick as a fucking dog. I hope you guys can understand what I'm saying. I don't know if you can or not. I don't even read this.
We'll help him.
Every week I take pages of notes and then I never look at them when I'm doing the show. Stupid.
Oh, I always see you look at him.
Every now and then I'll do like a. That's if.
I think you look at the
That's about it.
and I just
Yeah, that guy.
That guy.
And then the guy, and then
you
the
know
girl.
the nice
Yeah,
nurse?
the eyebrow girl.
The girl with the weird earlobe. Yeah. Check. Okay, we are on. You know what? I do need this. I need the directors and the actors and all that shit.
Mhm.
Okay. Welcome to the season of the Saw here on the Padded Room Network. All of our shows this month are going to be Texas Chainsaw oriented. We here in the Padded Room are covering the Sawyer family. Horror for Dummies is taking the Hewitt family. Wicked Wednesdays is going to be handling Jeffrey Dahmer in that bizarro case. And other shows are going to, I got the Shock Treatment crew lined up. They're going to do Texas Chainsaw The Next Generation.
They are.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Is that the one with Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah.
Renee Zellweger.
Okay. Oh.
Oh, it's bad. It is bad.
Yeah, happy 45th birthday, Leatherface.
He is 40. Well,
You know,
he's older than that, but
Yeah.
you know.
the original Leatherface is dead, actually.
Yeah.
Gunnar Hansen. But enough about that. I don't want to bring the show down anymore. Let's get right into this, shall we? Hold on. Let me clear out some oysters. I feel better already. All right, here we go. Yeah, you want to wipe down after that? Woo!
Yeah, how close were you?
I keep like a barrier between me and Chuck at all times. All right, here we go, you motherfuckers. That's right, inmates. We're talking about Leatherface from 2017. This one's fairly recent. It's rated R. It's directed by Alexandra Bustillo and Julian Maury. Those names sound familiar at all to anybody?
I don't know.
Directors of Inside, the original Inside.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
French,
cool.
the two French guys, dude. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
The gore
gore
was
was
pretty
great.
dope in this one. It's written by Kim Hinkle, stars Lily Taylor, Stephen Dorff, and Finn Jones. So this is actually a prequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and we're going to pick up with the Sawyer family. Now, before we get into the story, let's talk a little bit about the Sawyer family, because I feel like they are, in a weird way, like a disgusting 1960s West Texas white trash mafia in a weird way. Did anybody else get that? I don't know. Well, quite possibly inbred too. That's a very real possibility.
Yes.
But I feel like there's like a certain aura of like not necessarily nobility or royalty, but like they're like the wonderful whites of West Virginia if they were cannibals and living in Texas,
Mhm.
and even did even worse shit than deal drugs and do dumb shit. You know, because I don't know if anybody saw that documentary, The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
No.
Oh, white trashery. Ooh, that's a documentary. It's not a fictional thing. It's like a real family in West Virginia that is just white trash too.
Is that like the drug addict family?
Yeah,
Okay, I did
so
see that.
they're
Yes,
all
I
drug.
did.
They're all drug addicts.
Yeah.
They're all hooked on pills,
Yes.
and fucking fuck, man,
They fucking stubborn.
they do.
Like,
It's gnarly.
no.
But if you're like having a bad stroke of luck and you're starting to feel sorry for yourself, watch that movie. It's a documentary. You'll feel much better.
Yeah.
Really.
I
You're like,
did watch
I felt better about myself. I watched it like right after I lost my job too.
Probably wanted a cold shower after that one.
Yeah. Aaron says, "Hey, dude and lady. Hey, Aaron, what's going on, man? Who else is on there? Sven. Sven's in the house.
Hey.
I love me some Sven. I hope you guys can hear me because my voice is shot. So I apologize in advance, but we're going to try and make this work either way. So we're going to start off in South Texas, 1955. Okay. Now we're going to pick up with the Sawyer family, as we're wont to do. This is the original Sawyer family. Okay, so the story picks up with a young teenage couple driving down a rural road in Texas, and of course they run afoul of some shit. Oh, Tom Hardy's in the house. Hey yo,
Hey-yo.
Tom Hardy.
it.
Now I am sick, Aaron. By the way, so I apologize. But they come across something in the road that I'm going to call a pig with a cow head, which is very disturbing. I don't know if that's the kind of shit you just run into in Texas or what, but they're like, what the fuck? And then they drive off and they kind of crash their car. So the chick, the young lady, she's probably 18, 19, very attractive. She gets out and she's like, what the fuck is that goddamn thing?
Mhm.
Starts walking towards it. I gotta admit,
Hi, Steven.
Steve's in the house. I'd be a little curious about the cow pig myself.
Yeah.
I want to poke it with a stick.
Mhm.
So she gets out. She's like, "That's a goddamn cow pig." And she gets closer. It like takes the cow or the pig part off, and you realize it's a little boy wearing a cow head, and he's got like coveralls on. Like, oh, that's weird. That's like a dead cow head with a bullet, like a bullet hole right in its like center of forehead.
Yeah.
And like, what the fuck is that? And the kid is like, "You gotta help me!" And then he just takes off into the bushes.
Mhm.
So she's like, well, I guess we got to help this kid now. That's trying to be a humanitarian thing to
No.
do. Yeah.
Especially looking like that.
Yeah. I'll be like, you need help? Okay.
Okay. I
I'll
will.
call 911
I will
for
call.
you.
I will definitely call the police for this kid with a cow head.
Drive to the nearest station. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm going to go after him, you know, but I got it. I'll. Hey, where you going? All right. Goodbye. That's about it as far as I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Yes. And her boyfriend's like, get in the car.
As you
What are
should.
doing?
I'm trying to get a handy here. So let's get back on the road here, baby doll.
Bitch.
So she just goes walking off after the kid. So we follow the kid for a little while through some tall grass and some bushes and all that shit. And we get to a busted ass barn, I guess is what you call it.
Mhm.
And here we're gonna meet the Sawyer family at this point in history. Now, for those of you that are Texas Chainsaw enthusiasts, you're gonna recognize some names. What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at it.
What's Aaron say?
He said, driving down a lonely road with the plot to almost every horror movie.
Also, every porno movie as well, Aaron. But you could easily get your dick sucked on a lonely road, which is what I'm rooting for, except in this case. Nobody's getting their dicks. Well, actually,
It ruins the moment.
somebody is going to get their dick sucked here in a few minutes, but we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, we're going to meet the Sawyer clan here in their magnificence. Now, you got to do a little hearkening back to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre here with us for a second, because we're gonna hit a few notes. First guy we're gonna see is probably in his early 20s. It's Drayton Sawyer. Does that name ring any bells? Drayton Sawyer?
No, I don't know them by name.
Okay, Drayton Sawyer was the guy that worked at the gas station in the original Texas Chainsaw.
Okay.
He also won the chili competition
Yes.
in
three.
Texas Chainsaw 2.
No, two.
No, 2.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
No,
that's,
two was the radio station
it was.
with the guy with the metal plate.
Yeah, Chop
And
Top.
3 was the chili.
No, 2 was there was a
Oh.
chili competition in 2 also.
Okay.
And
Well,
then
weren't they underneath the carnival?
they were underneath a zoo, an abandoned
Okay.
zoo.
In two?
Yes,
Okay.
but it started with a chili competition, and the DJ pulls a fingernail out of
Yeah.
it. He's like, "That's one of those hardcore pepper. It's a pepper shell. There, it's what you got there. That's a fucking toenail, dude, and that is disgusting. You sick son of a bitch."
Yeah.
That's Drayton Sawyer. That's who we got right here. Here, okay. I love me the Sawyers. I love me the Texas Chainsaw Massacres. But here's something we got to bear in mind. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Drayton Sawyer was a bit of a pussy. Not to say he's like some kind of a fucking wackadoodle or anything like that, but as the character himself clearly stated in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I got no heart for killing. I just can't get into it. I let these boys handle all the killing. Remember that? Remember that line? Remember that? Okay, well, in this prequel, Drayton Sawyer is born again hard. He's shredded. He's been doing CrossFit. Bad teeth. He's not a bad looking dude, right, Monica? He's all right. He's got like a Joker kind of a thing going on. I felt like. Here's Drayton Sawyer. He comes out and he's like, well, Jed, what you got here? Okay, a couple things about this. So we're gonna establish right up front that our little boy in the coveralls is the Jed Sawyer, who we'll later know as Leatherface. Now, at this point, he's strange, not talking a lot. He's luring people into these weirdo traps.
Yeah.
So the young lady from the car goes chasing after him into the barn, falls into a weirdo's trap type of a thing. And then here comes Drayton and a couple other kids that are just out of nowhere, and they're like, "Hey, Jed, you got one for us? Woo!" Now, if you're really paying attention here, inmates, there's something you're going to notice. Off to the right-hand side of Drayton Sawyer is a kid wearing a Confederate Army hat. And if you're really, really paying attention, you'll notice he's got a familiar birthmark that runs from right here all the way down the side of his face, like so. You'll recognize that immediately if you're paying attention as the same birthmark that the hitchhiker had in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which, while is not entirely explored in this movie, is still kind of badass. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's the hitchhiker guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know who that guy is. We never really get a name or anything, except he's a fucking prick and he likes to take pictures with Polaroid cameras.
Hi, Patricia.
Hey, Patricia's in the house. And he's a bit of a psycho, as we know. And he likes to draw blood things on people's vans and shit like that, and blow raspberries as cars fly by, like some kind of a psycho. But that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
I like that. I like that a lot. And to be honest with you, the first time I saw this movie, I did not catch that. But it's there, and if you're paying attention, you'll catch it also. So that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, Jed Sawyer is the one who actually throws the switch and drops the engine block on the young lady, killing her outright. Drayton, who was a pussy in the first movie but is now born again hard, is like, "Well, you got yourself a kill there, Jed. Woo!" And then
Wait, are you sure it was Jed?
threw the switch?
Yeah.
I thought so.
No,
Who threw the switch then?
The one that I was talking to you about, the one that was like a mute, kind of didn't say anything.
Yeah, that was Jed. He had the coveralls
I
on.
thought Jed was the smaller boy.
He was. He had like the long hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jed didn't throw the
So
switch.
who threw the switch
The
then?
little boy with the black hair.
There's like 5 kids in this scene.
There's three.
3 of them.
3 of them.
Okay, you got Birthmark,
Yes.
who's the hitchhiker.
Yes.
You got
And
Jed.
you had the one with the short black hair that didn't really say anything.
I thought that was Jed.
No, Jed was the one with the long hair, the smaller boy.
There's another boy. There's another Sawyer
Yeah.
out there. Fucking shit. There's another fucking Sawyer running
I
around.
asked you what happened to that kid.
I thought you were talking about the kid with the.
No, the kid that threw
Okay.
the switch who had short black hair.
Okay, I
And
know.
he was kind of a mute.
You know who that dude was?
Who?
Chop Top.
Was it?
Had to be Chop Top.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Okay, I have a
Okay.
theory about Chop Top and what his story is. It's wrong. It's completely wrong. Whatever I'm about to say is wrong. But I still have a theory, and it didn't turn out to be so. Heath Ledger Joker, Mark Hamill Joker, or Jack Nicholson Joker? I go Heath Ledger. Aaron. That's just my opinion. Who do you think is the best Joker? Aaron, I have to notice that Jared Leto is not even part of the conversation. That was a joke, by the way.
Because that's a girl joke.
That's not a girl
That's a
Joker.
girl
He
joke.
has ripped abs, and he looks like a Mexican gangster.
And Joaquin Phoenix.
Hey, Alan's in the house. I heard good things
I did too.
about this Joaquin Phoenix. Hey, Shelly's in the house also. Spring has sprung, summer's fell, autumn's here. It's as cold as winter. I agree, and I'm sick like it's winter also, Jim. So thank you for reminding me of that.
Well, it did snow last weekend.
It did, and I ran a half marathon like a fucking asshole. All right, anyway, so that's the beginning. Now, from there, we're going to cut to the local sheriff, a guy by the name of Hartman, played by Monica's boyfriend, Stephen Dorff. Loves herself some short guys. He is born again. To come to find out, the young lady that just got the engine block smashed on her, his daughter Elizabeth. He shows up. He is fucking pissed off. He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill everybody. Oh, the fucking Sawyers, I'm gonna blow them all to shit. Now we're gonna meet the matriarch of the Sawyer clan, Verna Sawyer, played by Lily Taylor. How do you guys feel about Lily Taylor? What?
I'm not a fan of her.
Bitch in every movie.
No, she is
Acts
not.
the same in every movie.
No, she doesn't
Okay,
either.
she was okay in The Conjuring. I could sympathize with her, but she's a bitch.
No.
Is that the haunted house movie?
The Conjuring.
No.
No, the House on Haunted Hill.
It was a house.
No, the
No,
haunting.
the
The haunting. Yeah.
She
Oh,
played a
gosh,
psychic. She
terrible.
was great in that. I love. Okay, fuck these two. I love me some Lily Taylor. Watch Hemlock Grove season 1. You're gonna love that. There's also a movie. I forget the name of it, but she plays a young lady that carves a rock star's name into her forehead with broken glass.
Wow.
Yeah, she's pretty hardcore in that.
They're acting the same.
Get the fuck out of here. I like Lily Taylor. Have you guys done any research into Lily Taylor?
No.
She actually had to take a restraining order out against Michael Rappaport at one point because he was stalking her.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
my god.
It's weird. It's a whole weird situation.
Ugly.
Oh, come on
Oh
now.
my god, I said
I'll tell you right now, I'll have sex with Lily Taylor.
No.
I will.
Oh, I won't have sex with
Me.
him.
I will not have sex with Michael
Yeah.
Rappaport, but I will have sex with Lily Taylor. Anyway, Verna shows up. She is the matriarch of the Sawyer clan. And I believe she is later going to become the one we know as Grandma, who was in the attic during the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I can't say that for sure, though, because there's a lot of weird timeline differentials that don't quite line up throughout the storyline, the entire storyline, not just this movie. Regardless, she's there. She's the matriarch. She's like, what the hell are you doing? You can't arrest my kids. What the fuck is fucking going on here? Now, at this point, Sheriff Hartman is pissed. He's like, one of mine. I'm going to take all of yours. And she's like, you have no evidence or anything. She's like, I got all the evidence I need. You mistreating and neglecting those kids. They're all going with CPSs at your place right now. They're round them all up. Take them to the Gorman house. Now, the Gorman house, we're going to find out, it's like a juvenile home somewhere in South Texas where misguided youth go to for rehabilitation, I guess, for lack of a better term. And rehabilitation is a kind of a lofty term at this point because it's more like a torture chamber / early 60s medical facility where they're more interested in like hooking up electrodes and dunking people in ice water, doing weird experiments on kids. Shit like that. Okay, so that sucks. Verna gets all of her kids taken away like that. Sheriff Hartman is still out there. He lost his daughter. He's still very pissed off about that and wants some kind of a revenge on the Sawyer clan, as he should. Now, before we go any further, I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on Sheriff Hartman. What do you guys think of him? Is he a dick or is he a good guy? You think he's a dick?
Yeah.
I think it's both.
You think he's both?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think being in his position, he's a dick. But
Okay.
being a father,
Well, yeah, he had every right to be pissed.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think he already had it out for this family.
mm-hmm.
Neil Vance from the Hunt. Okay, well, I mean, if you think about it, though, like, let's take a look at the Sawyer clan, per se.
Mhm.
They're a family of inbred cannibals living in South Texas, preying, if you look at the whole story, on, like, unsuspecting teenagers and tourists and shit like that.
Right.
Now, who do you want hunting them?
Oh, sheriff, definitely.
You want a fucking ass. You
Mm-hmm.
know who I want hunting them is actually Sheriff Wydell from Devil's Rejects.
Those rejects, yeah.
Because he's like giving them, he's like punching mirrors. You motherfucker. Kick your ass, you fucking clown.
Why do we need anybody hunting them?
Because they're killing people and eating
Yeah.
them.
They're cleaning up society.
No, they're not. They're
No.
murdering kids.
Teenagers
No.
Oh, wow.
Teenagers.
Not all teenagers. Okay, hold that thought.
The sheriff's daughter?
Bear with me,
She was
inmates.
a slut.
Okay, whoa. Let's look at the hardest. Look at Sally Hardesty. She wasn't a bad kid. Neither were any of those guys. Franklin was in a fucking wheelchair, for Christ's sakes.
Okay.
He was a whiny prick. I get that, but he still doesn't need to be eaten. I don't think.
He was a wimp.
I get that. No, I. He's an annoying fuck. I understand that, but does that warrant being murdered with a power tool and eaten by a bunch of nasty fuckers?
Well,
He might have. We don't know that. He might have.
it was the 70s. There was no technology.
I mean, she's like 80% right,
Mm-hmm.
but there is still the possibility. You want if you're dude. All right, if you're hunting the Sawyer family, you need a world-class prick out there who is. Hey man, you
Hey,
need
man.
somebody that's willing to take their thumb and shove it into a head wound to get the information. We're going to get to that in a second. All right, anyway. My voice is going faster and faster as I get wrapped up. Okay, anyway. So now we're going to cut to 10 years later, okay? We're going to cut to the world-famous Gorman House, which is a juvenile correctional facility somewhere in Texas. And we're going to establish a few things right off the top. When kids get brought there, immediately their names are changed because they don't want their shithead families coming back to try to find them, which I understand and in a weird way makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So the quote-unquote Jed Sawyer is now living under an assumed name in this institutional facility, which is great. I am. I'll be honest with you, Matt. I feel like shit. And there's a reason for that, but we'll get into that later. Anyway, so it's 10 years later. The Verna Sawyer has now married into some wealthy family. She's now Verna Carson, and she now has a high-priced attorney. She's trying to track down Jed Sawyer so that she can at least visit him, which begs the question as to why she doesn't give a shit about any of those other kids.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was one of my things.
Did she put any effort into finding any of those other guys? I don't think so. It didn't seem like it. It's fine. I don't care. They grow up to be the nasty hitchhiker, so it's all good. She's now on facility trying to like serving the doctors with different subpoenas, trying to find her son. All well and good. While that's going on, we have a new nurse starting at the Gorman House. A young lady by the name of Lizzie.
A very nice nurse as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first time I saw this, I would have swore to you that Lizzie was a Sawyer and she was trying to infiltrate. But not to be. I gave the Sawyers too much credit. That's what happened there.
Yeah.
I did.
That would be too smart of a script.
Well, I mean, it would have been cool because they have like this whole Texas mafia vibe going about them, but whatever. She's there and she's like trying to be like the compassionate nurse. She's going to learn the different patients, the routines, things like that. First patient she meets is a guy by the name of Jackson, charismatic individual. He's like kind of helpful, you know. he seems like maybe he probably belongs there, but like he's got his wits about him and he's well behaved and things like that. And then we're gonna meet his best buddy, a guy by the name of Bud, who is a big fat guy with curly hair. He's a big fat guy with curly hair. He's a big fat guy with curly hair.
And so we go on.
Now, I don't want to point any fingers here. You think they might be trying to lay something out for us? You would think so. You would think they would, because here we have a big fat guy in a mental institution. Doesn't talk much, mind you. He's got curly hair. Oh, you get the fuck out of here.
What?
Kind of cute with this.
Oh.
So here we have the adventures of Darian and Dr. Dale as they begin in the South Texas mental institution in 1965. We have, it's kind of a weird thing, but now we're going to meet some other people here in this mental institution that are going to come into play later. There's a fucking asshole running around by the name of Ike. His real name is Isaac, but he goes by Ike. He's a troublemaker, and he's always picking on people and bullying the other inmates. Real cocksucker.
Yeah, you reminded me of Steve-O.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now that you say that,
Yeah.
not to say that Steve-O's a bad guy, but they have a very similar look.
Yeah,
Now that you
yeah.
mention that, we got another inmate there by the name of Clarice. She's a bit of a slut. She's got burn scars on her face, and we're going to find out later in other places it's very weird. And she's a bit of a troublemaker also. We catch up to her as she's trying to shove a rat into another female inmate's mouth,
Yeah.
which is, it's not just a rat. It's like a weird shaved rat. Where the fuck do you find a shaved rat these days? Other than like a Chernobyl, a newborn. I don't know. I don't know how rats work. Anyway, it's disgusting. Our new nurse, Lizzie, interrupts this process. She's like, hey, go fuck yourself. Like, ooh, I got special permission from the doctor because I suck his dick. Whoa. And, she thinks she's hot shit. This one with the burn scars, Clarice. So now we're going to cut to later that night. Now, this is like a weird time loop that happens here because we see Verna Carson walk in. She has this interview with the head doctor who's a real dick about everything. As she's having this little chit chat, like an inmate on inmate squabble breaks out between Ike and another guy. And both, eventually, Bud, the big fat guy with curly hair, comes in and breaks the whole thing up. So Ike, Bud, and the other dude get sent to quote-unquote ECT, the ECT chamber, which we'll come to understand in a minute stands for electrocurrent therapy or electroshock therapy, which is a real motherfucker if you're an inmate in this institution. So we're going to cut to this ECT chamber as Bud's having his long and luscious curly locks shaved for this electrode process. While that's happening, Verna has gone completely batshit crazy. The doctor tells her that she needs a court order and it's going to take another 3 months. And she's got to go back to get something signed and then come back like 3 months after the 3 months. She's looking at years before she's going to get to see her son. Even if she does get all that shit signed,
She's going to turn 18 before she comes back.
and the doctor may or may not remember what his name was changed to begin with, so who fucking cares? Nobody likes the Sawyers, especially Jed or Verna, so fucking just, just go fuck off. Verna gets all pissed off and she's like, you know what? I need to go to the ladies' room. Goes to the quote-unquote ladies' room, puts a pimp hand down on one of the nurses and snatches her keys. Just starts running rampant throughout the institution, unlocking doors left and right, causing a major inmate uprising.
Massive chaos.
Chaos everywhere. While that's going on, Bud, who is about to receive electrocurrent therapy, manages to break loose from his restraints and kill the two orderlies and also break Isaac loose, or Ike loose. So that's pretty cool. Make a long story short, Bud, Isaac, Clarice managed to escape. After a very weird sex scene that happens in one of the hallways where Isaac and Clarice run into each other and just immediately jump into a blowjob type of a deal. Which, I mean,
Hey, you know,
If if you want it that bad, I'll go ahead and whip it out for you. I'm more into getting out of here, but if you want to suck me off before I go, who am I to stop you? So, yeah, it was kind of weird.
yeah.
And kind of out of place, to be honest with you. I mean, he lived in a fucking mental institution in 1965. Of course he stunk. But you probably stink also, which kind of is like a stink on stink crime.
Yeah.
And it's like a two wrongs making a right. You cancel out each other's stink.
Rotten fish
Say
and
so.
piss smell.
I didn't see any rotten fish.
Well, I mean,
But
like her vagina.
Well,
oh my.
I mean,
Sorry. I've been there.
to be fair, she's probably right. She has more experience on this than I do. Hey, Johnny Barlow's in the house.
Hey, Barlow.
Barlow!
What's up, Barlow?
All right, so that's bizarre. While that's going on, Jackson, who was next in line for the electrocurrent therapy, manages to break loose. And he manages to save Lizzie, the new nurse, and they kind of make their way out together. Unfortunately, as they're making their way out, Bud, Ike, and Clarice kind of apprehend them and throw them in the trunk of a car as they steal the car and go hauling ass across the West Texas desert. So now we have like this weird Gecko Brothers kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Where we have these 3 escaped lunatics with 2 hostages in the trunk making their way across Texas. Very exciting. One part that was very cool was just as they were leaving, the inmates inside took one of the doctors, put him in a wheelchair, strapped him in, and then threw him through a window.
That's pretty cool.
I got a little kick out of that.
Yeah.
Hey, first floor, going down. I'm a sick son of a bitch. I understand. It's fine. So now we have like a Gecko Brothers situation where they're on the run. They're trying to evade capture. Naturally, the first person you call when these 3 assholes make their escape, not Ghostbusters, but Monica's boyfriend, Stephen Dorff. He's all pissed off. He's like, I know these fucking kids. They're fucking assholes. And they're going to go out there and kill a bunch of people. God damn it. And to be honest with you, I kind of like Stephen Dorff in this movie. He shows up and he's like, we're going to put a lot. They're probably headed to Mexico right now. Put a search perimeter out, people out there right now. So while all that's going on, we're going to cut back to our 3 amigos on the run. They get to like a weird barn farm situation where they let the 2, the nurse and Jackson at this point, out of the trunk. They're like, hey, put these clothes on, get out of your hospital scrubs. That's all well and good. So they do that. They're kind of, Jed and Lizzie are still kind of hostages at this point, but they're playing along to get along because they know that if they try to fuck up and leave, then somebody's going to get killed. Now, while that's happening, we have to bear in mind that Jed and Bud have this very, it's not a bromance, it's kind of like Frankenstein and the doctor kind of a relationship where one of them is just like a big muscle-bound half-guard, and the other one is kind of like trying to steer him in a weird way. So that's all well and good. Now, from there, we're going to cut to the next morning where they run out of gas in the car. So now they need another car, they need some money, and they probably, could do with some food and stuff like that. So they stop by a Texas diner that's in the middle of nowhere. They go to a diner. Everything's cool. Lizzie and Jackson are sitting at one table. Clarice and Ike are sitting at another table being complete fucking assholes.
Yeah.
Bud was made to wait outside because he's a little too conspicuous. He kind of looks like the Incredible Hulk if he had meatloaf hair, which I thought was kind of a nice little touch. So they're in there, and they go, Ike and Clarice go full Mickey and Mallory on this diner. They're like, hey, you want to start some shit? Yeah, it turns me on. So they start like throwing food in each other's mouth. And then another guy walks in who just so happens to have a gun on his hip. So I think it was Clarice actually, just turns around and stabs the guy in the neck. And then basically all hell breaks loose and they kill a bunch of people. There was a hot waitress. She gets shot in the face with a shotgun. There's another guy with a gun who, as they're leaving, manages to shoot Bud right through the love handle Apparently, a love handle wound is not actually fatal in any way. It doesn't even really bother you that much. So for that reason, I think I'm going to grow love handles. It's for protection. Monica's looking pissed off. What's your problem, Monica? You don't like love handles.
No, that's not my problem. It's like this kid was locked in an institution. So all of a sudden you have just this great amount of experience to wipe out the whole diner. Really? Really? Okay.
I mean,
There was my rant.
He's crazy. He's batshit crazy. You're probably right. I mean, he went like full, like commando on these motherfuckers, and so did Clarice, who, other than just being kind of a bitch, really didn't seem to have any kind of.
I would have beat the fuck out of this bitch already. Oh my god, I'm kidding.
I can't decide if I want to have sex with Clarice or not.
No.
Well, I mean, we're gonna get to. You're probably right, but that's never stopped me before. But when the actual dress comes off, there's some weird stuff going on there. We're gonna get to that in a second. So these guys managed to take a different car, which does have gas in it, and they go hauling ass across Texas, as they should. And they're going through the desert, all that shit. Eventually, the sun starts to set. They need a place to bed down. So they find this abandoned trailer in the middle of the desert. It's kind of cool. So they roll up in there. They're like, oh, it's an abandoned trailer. Let's go in there and check it out. You go in there. Turns out some dude went in there and committed suicide before they got there. Like probably at least a couple of days, maybe longer. Because this guy is fucking rotten. And he's like hanged himself in the bathroom in a weird way with like a shoestring or some shit. They go in there like, yeah, it's a fucking dead guy. He must have died of loneliness or something. Who gives a shit? So they kind of set up shop. They treat Bud's wounds, which are kind of starting to fester a little bit. And then night falls. They build a fire there inside the trailer, which I don't think would actually work. And then we get a very I'm going to call it a rancid sex scene between Ike, Clarice, and the dead guy that was there from months before. Okay, let's take a little trip back in time to a little movie called You're Next, in which they almost had sex on a bed with the guy's dead mom laying on the bed. Okay.
I thought you were going to bring up
Necromantic? That's where I was headed next. See that? Monica's on the same page I am. We started Your Next, where they're thinking about possibly fucking on the. No, not on the dead body, but on the bed with the dead body on it. Okay. From there we go to Leatherface, where they're actually having sex on top of the dead body, which is completely disgusting. And then we go to Necromantic, where they're having sex with the dead body.
And a lead pipe.
Which, from what I understand, was actually not a simulated sex scene in Necromantic. There was actual penetration there. Regardless, during said sex scene, we get to see Clarice in a full undress. And we see that said burn scars cover her entire body. There was like hints of nipples there, but not full nipples. They were like, imagine like a pepperoni pizza in which the cheese was laid over the pepperoni. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes. You can see the pepperoni. It's in there, but there's too much cheese.
Get a full look at the pepperoni.
Oh yeah, that's where the pepperoni is. But there's cheese covering it, equally as delicious. Don't know that I want to have sex with it. Just saying. Okay, it's disgusting. It's weird. So that's the sex scene. It's more, well, actually, after they get done having sex with each other, Lizzie wakes up, who's like in the living room of this trailer, and she sees people, thinks she sees people walking around outside. So she's like, I'm going to make a break for it right now, you motherfuckers. Goes running outside, gets like 40 meters away, and then gets tackled by Ike. Ike's a bit of a fuck face, and he's like, hey, I'm horny, and I'm going to put a raping on you. So he's like throwing Lizzie up against a tree and ripping panties off. And then Jed shows up and he's like, you're not raping anybody, you fucker. And then Bud shows up and he's like, yeah, you're not raping anybody either. So Jed puts a pretty good beat. I keep calling him Jed, which I shouldn't yet. Jackson puts a pretty good beat on Ike. He's like, you fucking asshole. And then eventually Clarice shows up with a shotgun. She's like, hey, stop beating on my boyfriend. He just had sex with my disgusting, cheesy pepperoni boobs.
Ugh.
And you're going to quit doing that. She's like, hey, all right, sorry, don't put that shotgun at me. At this point, Ike has taken a pretty good beating. So they're like, okay, we're going to go back to the trailer. We'll all go to sleep. It's going to be great. So they're walking back. While that's happening, Bud attacks Ike. Not only attacks him, but knocks him out, drags him off into an empty field, and curb stomps his ass to death.
Oh.
Okay, that's a brutal kill
Oh yeah. It is.
by the fat guy with curly hair. They're leading us down a certain road here. You see that? And I'm with you. I like the road that we're headed down. Unfortunately, no. So sorry, but we'll get to that in a second. All right, so that's pretty gnarly. They wake up the next morning and they're like, "Hey, Ike's gone. So is Bud. So what the fuck is going on here?" They go out looking around and they find Bud, who's like curled up next to Ike's curb stomped body. Like, oh fuck, look at this shit. So they wake Bud up and hey man, come on. While that's happening, the sheriff shows up and he's got all of his posse with him and they've encircled him. Now, while all this shit was going on, we got to spend a little time with our sheriff. He's got a new trooper on his posse there, a guy by the name of Trooper Sorrell, who is played by a dude named Finn Jones. Anybody recognize Finn Jones at all?
No.
You might recognize him as Loras Tyrell of Game of Thrones, or Danny Rand, the immortal Iron Fist from the Marvel Netflix shows,
I didn't
which
either one.
neither one of you
I
saw.
saw the first
Either
season
of.
Game of Thrones, but
So go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Game
Finn.
of Thrones.
Oh fuck you then. Anyway, Finn Jones in the house, and he's like, "Hey, I'm your new partner here." So Finn Jones, Officer Sorrell, shows up, and he pulls the gun on Clarice as she's out looking for Ike and Bud. He's like, I got her now, Sheriff.
I got this
Stinky slut with the burn scars and the weird boobs. And here comes Hartman, who's a real hard case. He's like, "Oh fucking hey, you got her. We're gonna get some information." He's like, "Yeah, you put her under arrest." And Hartman's like, "I don't think so." Walks up to her, pistol whips her, which causes a great big gash to open on her forehead. And she's like, "Hey, I'm crazy and I don't feel anything." He's like, "Oh, you don't?" And he takes his thumb and shoves it right into the fucking gash. And she's like, "Ah, God damn it!" Like, where are they? Where are they? You fucking bitch! So again, Hartman is a bit of a prick, but if you're hunting an inbred cannibal family through the West Texas desert, I give you my personal permission to be a fucking prick. By all means, stick your thumb in some head wounds and get the information, because at some point I may have to travel across Texas, and I prefer not to be eaten, sir or ma'am, whoever you may be. Regardless, she just starts screaming, "The cops are here! Cops are here!" So Bud, Jed, and Lizzie just go hauling ass across the plains there. Here comes the cop. The rest of the cops, they've got dogs now. They're like, row, row, row. They're on the scent. As our fugitives are going across the plains, they come across a dead cow that's just laying there. So they all crawl inside the dead cow, which I don't think they would all three fit.
yeah,
No.
That's a bit of a stretch.
yeah.
But they all crawl inside the dead cow. It's fine. The dogs go flying by and they're like, "Okay, we're good. We're get it out of there." You're exactly right, JP. That is gross.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a fan of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you get a very reminiscent scene here. Once Lizzie comes out of the cow, she is completely covered in blood,
Completely covered.
and she's staggering around in a somewhat catatonic state, which to me was very reminiscent of the Sally Hardesty escape from the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Kind of cool, a little bit of a nod there. So they go walking across. They're like, "Okay, we lost him. Ooh, thank God." Cops are all over this little patch of desert here. They take Clarice back to the abandoned trailer. And they're like, "Tell him to get out of here, or I'm gonna put a bullet in." She's like, "I ain't telling you shit." So Hartman kills her on the spot. Boom, bullet right through the mouth. And Iron Fist is there. He's like, dude, what about police procedure, you fucking
Right.
asshole? He's like, hey, we ain't dealing with regular criminals here, dude. She don't want, and then they all just start. Oh, they all just open fire on the trailer. It's like that scene from Predator, except like Predator meets Dukes of Hazzard on a trailer, kind of a thing. It's weird. So they all open fire on the trailer. They go in there. They find the dead guy who's been there for weeks. Oh yeah, this guy's been here for weeks. All right, so that's all well and good. Now we're going to cut back to our three fugitives. They are going through they're going under a bridge, and one of the cops passes by, like on top of the bridge. Lizzie has like I don't know, I guess she was going to make a break for it. So she's like, hey, help me.
She just wants out of there.
She wants out of the whole shit, as she should. So she goes running up to the bridge, chasing the cop. The cop stops. He's like, oh, it's on the radio. Oh, Hartman, I got three suspects. Jackson like tackles Lizzie before she can get to the cop. Bud is like, he's in attack mode. He's like, I'm gonna get this fucking cop. So he comes up onto the bridge and just starts running at the cop.
Being shot at.
Cop's like, oh fuck this. This is a big fat fucker with curly hair. I'm gonna blow him to shit. So he just opens fire on Bud, shoots him like 3 or 4 times. Bud actually is just ignoring it. Jumps on the cop. The cop puts the gun to Bud's head and pulls the trigger and kills Bud. Well, maybe not Leatherface. As a matter of fact, that is somebody completely different and a innocent bystander in this whole shit. And he's now dead. So,
Is he innocent though?
well, I mean, no, he killed Ike. Ike was a fucking asshole. There goes our would-be Leatherface, as it would seem. If you're like me and you're a Texas Chainsaw kind of a guy, you're going, well, fuck this shit. That was supposed to be Leatherface, and he's fucking dead. He just got shot in the head.
I never thought that.
You never thought he was Leatherface?
No.
Oh, fuck off. He's a big fat guy with curly hair. Go out the window.
He was a little boy when this movie started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have grown up to be a fat guy.
I'm wondering. Okay, I'll wait till you're.
Okay, all right. So
Discuss it.
this throws Jackson into like a homicidal rage. He runs up and starts pounding on the cop, puts the cop's head in the car door, starts slamming the door on the cop's head, grabs Lizzie, throws her in the cop car, and they take off in the cop car. Hartman got the call on the radio, and he's in hot pursuit. He's right behind them, just shooting at them randomly as he's driving. This part's pretty dope. Bullet goes through the back window, catches Jackson right like on the, I don't know what you call that. What is that? Like a weird, like the cheek,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
blows half his face off.
Yeah, almost like a half Joker smile.
Yeah, kind of, but like, yeah, it's like God, this whole bottom part of his face is just gone.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And he's driving, so he's like, oh, fucking fuck. They do like a weird barrel roll in the car.
No, he wasn't driving.
Was he?
Lizzie,
No.
Lizzie was driving?
Lizzie was driving.
Oh, okay. Well, either
Yeah.
way,
She ended up getting shot, and that's what.
she gets shot too. And then
Right.
they do like a whole barrel roll of the car, which smashes down, and then they're both unconscious at this point. So Hartman just pulls up next to him. He's like, I got you fucking assholes now. Pulls them both out. And then we're going to catch up to them a couple hours later when Jackson is regaining consciousness, and so is Lizzie. Now we are back at the barn where this whole shit started, where Hartman's daughter got the engine block dropped on her. Jackson, who we now know is Jed Sawyer, the Jed Sawyer, is like suspended above the pit where the daughter fell into and got the engine smashed on her. He's suspended on that with like a bag on his head, and he's all tied up. Lizzie is just kind of like half conscious coming to, and Hartman is there, and he's got like a shotgun, and he's like, let me explain to you what's going on. This piece of shit is part of the Sawyer clan. They're a bunch of fuck faces, and they killed my daughter, and now I'm going to kill them, and there's not going to be any witnesses. As if to say he's going to kill Lizzie when this whole thing is done and over with, which I wouldn't put past him at this point. So, while that's going on, we're going to cut back to like the homestead of the Sawyer clan. Still, we have Lily Taylor, who is Verna Sawyer. She's like the mafiosa princess of this whole shit story. We have a little bit older Drayton Sawyer, who's just as equally as shredded and Joker-esque, but now he's got a beard, which means serious business. We have a couple other random Sawyers. Look at that. Look at this. You see this? Look at that. That's serious. That's serious. Woo! I'm taken aback by all the seriousness over here. We also have a couple other random Sawyer dudes just kind of hanging around. They all look pretty pissed off. Turns out, as I mentioned before, the Sawyers are a bit of a clandestine West Texas mafia type of a deal because that new guy, Iron Fist, was actually working for them the whole time. So he shows up at the Sawyer clan. He's like, "Hey, just got off the radio with Hartman. He's got the Jed Sawyer in the old barn over there, and he's probably going to kill him if you guys don't do anything." They're like, "Oh shit, we better go do something." He's like, somebody needs to get paid here because I just brought you some insider information, baby doll.
Yeah, some good
So
intel.
she's like, "Oh, you, that's right, you fucking asshole." So Verna starts throwing cash at him. While she's doing that, Drayton sneaks up behind Iron Fist and stabs him in the gut, and then throws him in the pig pen where he gets eaten by pigs. That's a bad death. That is an ugly way to die.
Oh man.
And that completely sucks. Especially considering he was still alive when he got tossed into the pig pen. Fuck that, man. God damn it. All right, that sucks. Anyway, the rest of the Sawyers go hauling ass over to the barn where we have this weirdo hostage situation taking place. Get there. Hartman's like, come on in, you Sawyer fucks. I'm going to kill all of you. Here's the mistake he made. He didn't actually start shooting. He just started pointing guns at everybody like, "Nobody move, you fuckers."
Yeah,
and of course, there's like 35 of them. Yeah, there's like 35 of them. So one of them sneaks up behind Hartman and like hits him in the leg with something. He goes down, not before he drops Jed into the pit of the pit, whatever the hole in the fucking barn.
Yeah, it looks like a well at the bottom.
Whatever, it's something nasty. You don't want to go down there. So that sucks. So now we're going to cut to probably a couple hours later where Jed is regaining consciousness. His face has been blown to shit. And his mom had, or Verna, mom, aunt, whatever her relationship was, she has constructed this weirdo leather harness, I guess, to keep the his face together because she stitched his face back together, but it's got to be held in place with this weirdo harness. There you go, buddy. So it's like a very Mankind-esque face strap thing. It's like all belts. It's got like barbed wire going through. It looks painful as shit.
Yeah, it does.
But she straps it. She's like, "All right, you're gonna have to wear this fucking thing while your face heals." I'm sorry. And at this point, we're starting to see the Jed Sawyer that we all know and love because he's not talking anymore. He's not coming up with any more ingenious schemes or anything like that. He's just kind of that catatonic, half-tard kind of a chainsaw wielding maniac. Hey, it's the Dino and Ted show. What's up, Dino and Ted?
Hey, what's going on?
We're talking about Leatherface from 2017. Season of the Saw here in the padded room. So Jed's like, now he's pretty much Leatherface at this point because face is all jacked up, got this weird leather harness on, and he's like keeps like fingering the chainsaw, like rubbing it down. You know, he's got like a big chainsaw, obviously. He's like, ooh. So now we're going to cut to somewhere else in this bizarre house. This is the Texas Chainsaw House that we all know and love. It's got like the weird bone totem things, the what do you call those, mobiles, with like bones jingling and furniture made out of bones, bones everywhere, and out of place chicken feathers flying all over the place. I don't know what
heads hanging.
What the fuck is with the chicken feathers? Are we doing chickens in here also? I thought we were eating people.
They probably got dead relatives in the freezer.
I know they have dead relatives in the freezer and in the attic. I don't know if they're dead or not. They just kind of hang out there. I think they're still alive. I don't know if that's like the attic in the what is that? The Ritual.
The Ritual.
Yeah, where everybody's I guess
Dead
alive, but they're still like mummified in a weird way. I don't know. Anyway, we got the whole clan here. We have Hartman and Lizzie like tied up in a different room.
Mm-hmm.
Lizzie comes to, manages to get loose, unties Hartman. They're like, okay, we're gonna get the fuck out of here because I don't like any of this shit. So they start walking out. Sawyers realize they're gone, so they all go running out the front door to try to find it. This part is particularly stupid because they're like, okay, they're all gone. So Lizzie and Hartman decide to go out the exact same door that everybody else went out. Of course, they get like 3 feet away from the door, and everybody comes back in and grabs them, which is stupid. So now they're all tied up, of course. Hartman gets killed by Jed with a chainsaw, like bisected on a couch.
Yeah.
And then Lizzie managed. Okay, which ending did you guys see?
Oh, she didn't make it.
Well, no, she doesn't make it either.
Yeah, I saw the one where
She gets out. Okay.
Mhm.
That's the theatrical ending. The theatrical ending, Lizzie like escapes, goes hauling gas, and goes hauling gas after her, and then catches her, and then we get like a weird crisis of conscience where Jed's like, "Oh, I remember her. She tried to help me."
Yeah.
But then Verna catches up to him, and she's like, "Oh, she ain't family. You gotta kill her, you crazy prick."
Mm-hmm.
But then Jed's like, kind of has like a moment of, I don't know, what should I do? And then he just cuts Lizzie's head clean off.
Yeah, because she said something like her
Your
mom was
Yeah.
crazy.
mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't insult his mother
Especially when you're trying to live.
while he's got a chainsaw, man. That's just common sense.
It was pretty cool the way he just swung it.
Yeah. Just whoosh. Now, if you watch the alternative ending, it's much more sinister because not only does Lizzie not get away, but Jed actually takes the saw and buries it in one of her legs,
Oh,
like severing the what do you call that? The quad, so she can't go anywhere.
wow.
They then put her on a meat hook and keep her in the basement, alive, mind you, while Jed constructs his new face, which is Lizzie from like here, like a Sub-Zero Lizzie, and then Hartman from here up. So Lizzie is alive, minus half a face with a fucked up ass leg, and they're just like the very last scene of the alternate ending is Jed running the chainsaw up in between her legs as she dangles from the meat hook, which is pretty gnarly.
Wow.
So that is Leatherface from 2017. Prequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, start of the Sawyer clan dynasty, I guess, for lack of a better, the franchise.
Right.
What did you guys think of Leatherface?
Not bad.
I always liked it.
I remember not liking it the first time I saw it, mainly because
I know you and Tim were haters.
the reason I didn't like it is because they set Bud up to be Leatherface. Big fat guy, curly hair, violent tendencies, very
I
violent.
never saw that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm starting. I always thought that Bud was the brother. The mute-
Hitchhiker?
I thought he was the mute brother from
From
the
the-
barn.
Yeah, from like the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, because he was
okay.
a chunky kid there.
Right.
And that's who I thought it was too.
That's what I always thought
Yeah.
that he was.
But
So
the
I just-
Chucky kid had the birthmark of the hitchhiker from the original Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
It's like a
Are
big.
you sure?
I'm positive. I'll pull it up on YouTube. It's got
Yeah,
a
I
big
believe it.
fucking. It's like a great big thing that goes down here.
Yeah, but I mean, at the beginning of the movie, he's just like this little skinny kid. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Right.
So I knew exactly who it was in the mental institution.
Right. So I mean, I get that part, but the part that I don't get is it's a pretty big stretch to go from Jackson, who is like a empathetic, reasonable kind of a guy who has a soft spot for Bud, to Leatherface. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because he saw his brother get murdered.
I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say head trauma from the car accident, plus getting half his face blown off.
And he took the electric shock.
That too.
One time.
That too. I think all of that. I don't know if this is 100% consistent with the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre because there's a lot of stuff about Grandpa working at a slaughterhouse, his brother Jed also working at a slaughterhouse. I don't see that Jed holding down a 9-to-5 job.
No.
I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know what the hiring practices are of a West Texas slaughterhouse, but I don't know. But there are much worse inconsistencies in this franchise that we'll get into later on in the month. I actually, watching it a second time, I actually like this movie a lot. I don't know that I would call it true to the Texas Chainsaw mythos, but I still thought it was a good show. The kills were fucking gnarly. And if you haven't seen the alternate ending, I highly recommend checking it out because you get to see a much more like steep climb from Jackson Sawyer to Jed Sawyer.
Right.
We get to bridge that gap a lot faster that way. Worth checking out. Monica, what did you think of this one?
I liked it. I liked it for the gore factor.
Pretty good gore.
I love
Crazy bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Monica Sawyer. Can we change your last name to Sawyer?
Yeah,
Call you Monica
Monica
Sawyer.
Sawyer.
That makes way more sense.
No, I did like this story, and I can see where you're coming from, thinking that that kid was gonna be. But I can also see now where he is gonna just become a recluse, gain the weight, and then just kill people.
Yeah, I get that.
He's fucking traumatized.
He is, and he's
Oh,
probably got head trauma to go
Thanks,
along with it.
Stephen Dorff.
Don't blame Stephen Dorff. Stephen Dorff was trying to protect us. He's trying to protect us from Leatherface, you crazy bitch.
He wasn't,
He was.
but he wasn't like a full-blown killer at that point.
He was on his way. If he goes back, dude, if he goes back to Verna, he's going to become a killer one way or the
Yeah,
other.
Verna had to go.
I actually like Verna. I think she was a lot of fun.
Go to my bedroom where she didn't
Hey now.
go.
That's something I'm very attracted to. All right, inmates, we're going to take us a little break. We'll come back with some other stuff.
All right.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
It was. We'll spend another minute or two. As you can probably tell by now, inmates, I sound like shit. And I'm sounding shittier as the episode goes on.
Yeah, he's using it.
I probably aren't going to be able to talk at all tomorrow, so that's fine.
Oh, Barlow got his first tattoo today.
Barlow,
Make him a
please
tan
post
skin
a
and you
picture
describe me.
so we can see it.
Belgian tradition. I
I
think
didn't know what that meant.
I think Sven is actually in Belgium. Sven, are you in Belgium? That's pretty dope if you are. I hope you are. Yeah, very cool, man.
And look, James just joined us.
Oh, just now, huh?
Just now.
Wow.
Watching.
No, he's been on there the whole time.
Who is that guy?
This fucking Ovic character out of nowhere.
I'm spying on
I know you are. Sneaky prick. He's nefarious, this guy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us, inmates and Psycho Buddies. It'll be a little bit of a short episode this week because, well,
He's dead.
I'm
He's
rapidly
hitting puberty.
losing it.
Yeah.
I am,
Yeah.
and I don't want to get these two getting puberty either. So I'm trying to shield them from puberty. So yeah, thank you for joining us. The regular podcast will be out later tonight. PaddedRoomPodcast.com is where you find anything you need to know about us, or you could go to the old PsychoBunnyDC.com, and you can find us all there. Also, you know what? I'm gonna be back next week. I'm gonna sound much better because I'm gonna blow my nose as soon as this is over.
Because next week we're doing my favorite one.
The original
The original
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No,
Yeah.
your
No,
favorite
mine
is
is
part
two.
2, so
Two.
you gotta wait 2 weeks.
Oh, that's
But-
okay.
I'm glad you brought that up because you mentioned hang out with me. I should have said this on the podcast, but there was a third Sawyer kid. Now, I was always under the impression that Chop Top was actually the hitchhiker from the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Remember at the end, he gets run over by the big Mac truck?
Yeah.
I thought that was why he had the steel plate.
Yeah.
Turns out, no. Chop Top was a third Sawyer that was away in Vietnam during the events of the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. A third Sawyer brother exists.
Oh.
And that is probably the kid that we saw in the barn. Not the one with the
Okay.
big thing.
But isn't the one that got run over the hitchhiker the
Yes.
one that was in 2? The radio DJ.
No, that's Chop Top.
Okay.
Radio DJ.
Actually, there was no.
Yeah, he
Chuck,
wasn't the
he wasn't the
DJ.
DJ. He shows
but
up.
we know.
He shows up with a
Yes.
coat hanger to
Yeah.
harass the
Sure,
DJ.
That is
Hey,
really good.
Y'all play some Iron Butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love me some Bill Mosley. All right, I'm going to sign us off now before I officially die on the air. Thank you again very much for joining us. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, I'll sound like my usual self by then, and I won't get these guys sick either. See you next week with the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Oh, fuck. I should just call into work tomorrow right now.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
no, Chuck.
oh,
Tell me to fuck off.
Chuck, I'm calling in. Yeah, okay. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. No. Okay. All right.